Hey everyone, welcome to day 4 of our Siena Skirt Sew-a-long. Today we're adding our elastic. I'm going to start by heat setting the edges of my elastic just to help prevent it from fraying. I usually don't have too much of an issue with elastic fraying, but sometimes it's nice to take those precautions just to prevent any issues later on down the road. And I just use a regular long handle lighter. Once you've had a chance to heat set the edges, I just stick a safety pin through one edge of my elastic. And then on the opposite edge, I usually put 2 clips, or you could put a larger safety pin or something just to keep it from being pulled through to the other side. That's happened to me one too many times before, and I hate undoing the work that I've done, so that is usually what I do. Once you've got your safety pin and your clips, or whatever method you prefer, you're going to just go ahead and thread the elastic through the waist casing. So if you did the wider elastic, you will just have this one piece of elastic to thread through, and that'll be it. Do be careful not to get your elastic twisted. That's especially important when you get to the end before you stitch the 2 edges together to make sure that it hasn't been twisted in the waistband. Every now and then you may run into an issue with the side seam because it is a little bit bulky and there's more layers. But usually if you just kind of fiddle with it for a few seconds, you can get it through to the other side. And then after that, you just thread it through until you get to the opposite end of your 1 to 2 inch opening. You can pull the elastic through and even it out a bit as you're threading. I typically try to push most of it to the back until I've had a chance to attach both of my elastic edges together. Once you've made it to the other side, remove the safety pin, and I usually clip both ends together, overlapping just a little bit. And then I'm going to stitch them together with my sewing machine. So I don't even it out completely yet because I want that extra space to get under my sewing machine. But I do like to do a quick check to make sure that I haven't gotten my elastic twisted. So thankfully I checked because on this regular waistband one, I did in fact get my elastic twisted. I don't think it was twisted in the actual waistband. I think I twisted it just before I clipped it. So no big deal, that's an easy fix. So my waistband is ready and I'm going to head over to the sewing machine to attach my elastic edges together. Before I head over to do that, I'm going to do the elastic threading for my ruffle waist. The process is exactly the same. For this one, I'm using the narrower elastic, so remember mine is just under 1/2 inch. I can't remember now what the total was. It was like 0.48 something. I don't remember. It was just under 1/2 inch though, so it'll work fine for this process. For the ruffle waist, I'm going to do the first row of elastic and then stitch the edges, close up my opening, and then I will do the second row of elastic just to make it a little bit easier, and especially because I use the clips, that way they won't be piled on top of each other. Now that I've finished threading the first row, I'm going to go ahead and stitch the ends of my elastic together, and then I will stitch out the opening, and then I'll come back and install the second row of elastic. I'm going to overlap the elastic by just a little bit, about 1/2 inch or so, and then I'm going to use a zigzag stitch and a stretch stitch to attach the edges. Once you've attached the short edges of your elastic, you can go ahead and stitch that opening closed. You can just use a regular straight stitch on your sewing machine since we're working with woven, so you don't need to worry about a stretch stitch or anything for this. I'm going to go ahead and repeat those same steps for the other skirt. This is the only row of elastic for this one, so once I attach the elastic edges and sew up my opening, that is all I need to do for the skirt for day 4. I have one more row of elastic to put in. It'll be the same process as the other 2 rows that I threaded through, so no big deal. I know I mentioned earlier about the side seams, and if you notice that yours are kind of being extra difficult, you can go ahead and reverse it and thread it the opposite way. So that's what I opted to do for this second row. I don't know what was happening with that side seam, but it was just not wanting to cooperate with me. That's all right, I'll just go the other direction. I have left to do for this one is to stitch up the elastic edges and then sew up my opening. Once you finish those steps, you can even out your waistband elastic, and then that is all for day 4. We will see you back tomorrow to hem our skirts for day 5. We'll see you then.